Hello, Star Trek fans. Welcome to ReBinge It. This is the ReBinge Star Trek Voyager podcast. My name is Kim.
And my name is James.
And we are rebinging Star Trek Voyager from the beginning, one episode at a time. Welcome back to the podcast. Today we are on Season 5, Episode 2, Drone. This episode aired October 21st, 1998. When I saw the thumbnail of this episode, I immediately knew it was the I Dream of Jeannie episode.
Yes, you have called it that now for 28 years, however long it's been.
A very rare episode because I remember it pretty well. And I'm not sure why, but that I Dream of Jeannie thing is like a 1 second, split second really, thing that happens.
Right at the end.
And I've always remembered it ever since.
Yeah.
So yeah, I actually got to remember. Before we start this one, anything to say about last week's episode, which was Night?
Yes, it was good enough that we went ahead and decided to do the rest of the season.
Yeah, imagine if it wasn't. It wasn't even the wrap-up of a cliffhanger.
Yeah.
But it was still pretty good. Do you think they wanted to call this episode 1, but then they remembered they already used that title at the end of last season?
Oh, maybe they call it 1-2.
Yeah, 1-2 would have been a good name for it.
1 the second.
Drone isn't, I don't know, it's not a great name. It's an acceptable name.
1 of 1.
1 of 1, actually, that would have been good. Yeah. Well, you have the notes today, so over to you.
We open on 7 of 9 in her cargo bay, practicing smiling in a mirror. The Doctor joins her, immediately annoying 7, who requests in future he announce his presence before entering, basically because he saw her smiling.
She's finally mad she doesn't have a doorbell. We've been talking about it for weeks.
Yeah, I think it's generally a good idea to have a bell or a lock on her cargo bay.
But also, what idiot told her to smile more? Was it this idiot or a different one?
Yeah, I get what you mean on that.
That would really irritate us today if that were on a modern episode of Star Trek.
Well, the Doctor and 7 are heading out to an away mission to survey the creation of a spontaneous proto-nebula, which is apparently quite rare. He's very excited about the mission and has brought along a giant holoimaging device, which is this like giant camera.
The biggest camera.
Even in 98, digital cameras weren't that big.
Yeah, I was wondering, we must have still been in the phase where bigger was better for cameras. Because we kept getting bigger and bigger cameras.
That's true, but we still were using film back then.
Yeah.
It is kind of funny how science fiction writing so totally missed the smartphone.
Yeah, well, they missed the video stuff, which always cracks us up.
Yeah.
Like how there's no surveillance, right? We have surveillance everywhere now, and anybody who's got a phone can video you, with a high-quality video.
Into a space shot of one of the tiny Class 2 shuttles, which I guess they now have a name. I don't remember Class 2 referring to the little ones ever before.
Mm-hmm.
And squeezed into the shuttle is Tom, B'Elanna, 7, and the Doctor. And it seems like there isn't enough seats even in the thing.
Yeah, it seems like there's 2 chairs and 4 people.
It seems dangerous. They should be grab handles at the very least.
Well, yeah, and Tom says they would put like 6 people in there. Well, that's not safe.
I believe that might be a battle arena kind of thing. If they put 6 people in, and the 2 who don't kill the others when they get out the other side is the victor.
Right.
Tom is complaining about how small the shuttle is, and we get a little foreshadowing here of the future when 7 tells him, perhaps you should design a new shuttle.
Mm-hmm.
And B'Elanna replies, not a bad idea.
Setting things up for the future podcast called The Delta Flyers.
That was very thoughtful of them.
Yeah.
In a cool VFX shot, we see a new nebula forming, but things go a little awry because it's a nebula, and a second massive plasma surge traps the shuttle in a gravimetric shear. Janeway orders emergency beam out, and we go to a Starfleet officer operating the transporter, and this guy's even got lines.
Mm-hmm.
The emergency transport doesn't go well, as the transporter guy reports he's having difficulty separating their patterns. As we see the 4 crew fading in and out on the transporter pad, he manages to clear the problem and they materialize, but immediately the Doctor begins glitching, and his mobile emitter is damaged. Examining the emitter, B'Elanna reports some of its mobile emitter circuits fused during transport. She's going to run a diagnostic and gives the transporter guy a name, Mulcahy.
Oh, you know that's bad.
Yeah, I mean, it's worrying. I mean, he's got lines, he's got a name.
Yeah, probably dead.
Yeah, remember when that young ensign was with Chakotay in the shuttle? What did she make, 15 seconds?
Right.
In some kind of lab, which we later learn is called the Science Lab, which we've not seen before, and I guess is a new addition for Season 5?
Yeah, that seemed like a new thing, but it has been mentioned a couple of times before.
Yeah. But have we seen it?
Do you remember in Scientific Method when the doctor and B'Elanna were like looking at, I think it was maybe blood tests or something with Chakotay because he'd suddenly aged?
Yeah.
And they had figured something out. They were in the lab when that happened.
Oh, okay. So we have seen it before. Okay.
Yeah.
Back to the show. And B'Elanna starts a diagnostic on the emitter and tells Mulcahy to check on the results in the morning. And they leave. Which I think you should at least wait around for a little bit to see whether it started correctly. I mean, it'd be really annoying to come back in the morning and get the USB device not recognized.
Right.
But when they leave, we see the emitter appear to sparkle, and Borg-like probe tubes just pop out of it and into the console.
Uh-oh.
And there's a nice touch here where the display under the emitter starts to darken.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's something spreading out. I thought that was pretty good.
Yeah, that was good.
And into the opening credits. Wow. A long opening for a change.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there were multiple scenes in multiple rooms, and we were on a shuttle.
And we got a guy with a name who we'd never seen before.
And we got a new name. We'll probably never see him again.
Funny thing here.
Mm-hmm.
Because of media that I've consumed since this episode, the scene where Seven is practicing smiling in the mirror, I find a little disconcerting. Because there's a great scene in the movie Nightcrawler where Jake Gyllenhaal is actually practicing laughing and smiling.
Because he's trying to appear like a normal person?
Yeah, when this character is like a complete sociopath.
Right.
It's funny how things you've watched later impact your rewatching of shows.
Yeah, definitely.
In a log, Janeway is reporting the Proto-Nebula is expanding and they're continuing to monitor its growth. Because, for some reason, they've not figured out how dangerous nebula are every time they encounter them. So they're hanging around.
It is a beautiful shot when they show Voyager with the nebula behind it. It's really pretty.
Kim, you did mention that in Year of Hell, they hid in a nebula that wasn't too dangerous. It was a bit corrosive, though.
Oh, I don't remember. Was it actually damaging the ship? So they were having to
they were having to seal up the inside.
I thought that was just them fixing all the damage that was already on the ship, but okay.
But at least the nebula wasn't actively trying to destroy them.
Yeah, all nebulas are bad. You're right. You bring it up all the time.
Off to B'Elanna's quarters, where she's rudely awakened at 6 a.m. by the doctor, desperate to get an update on his mobile emitter.
Who just pops in on video and can see her. I mean, it's like an Amazon Echo where you can drop in on your elderly parents.
Yep.
But even that has a warning cycle. You know, it spends a little time before it gives you a clear picture of warning the other person. This is just like, boom, I'm in your room.
Yeah. Any comments on her outfit?
Yeah, she's wearing an outfit. Her sleep attire is a bit revealing.
It's very slinky, yes.
I mean, she looks great.
What happened to everybody wearing those like Starfleet pajamas?
I don't know.
Yeah. Reluctantly, B'Elanna gets up, and then it gets really weird. The doctor disturbs her while she's in the shower, again pestering her about the emitter. There's actually a two-way display in the shower
bathroom,
that you can just call.
Yeah, that's not right. Why on earth would you allow him to just drop in unannounced into somebody's shower? Or anybody unannounced?
Yes, why do you put a phone in the shower?
I mean, surely you'd have to answer it. This is weird.
Yeah.
Then he says something like, I'm not a peeping Tom. And it's, yeah, but you are. You are a peeping Tom.
You'd think he'd have some understanding about humans wanting privacy.
Yeah. She throws her towel over the screen. I mean, I would permanently have a towel over that thing in there. Don't just drop in on me.
Quick shot back to the science lab, and we see the emitter with the new Borg add-ons has quietly taken over part of the console and seems very happy there. In her alcove, Seven appears to wake, looking a little concerned. Now on the bridge, Seven informs Chakotay her Borg proximity transceiver has been activated, and it could mean the presence of Borg nearby. Harry hasn't detected anything, but they'll double their scans just to be sure. And Seven does look very concerned.
I like when Harry says, it's impossible for there to be a Borg ship in the nebula. I mean, After everything you've seen, is anything really impossible? I would struggle to use that word if I were actually on Voyager as a crew member.
Well, to quote Seven from last week, didn't she tell Janeway, impossible is a word humans use far too often?
Yes, she did, and she is correct.
Maybe she just means Harry.
Maybe she just meant Harry, who uses too many words for everything.
Yeah. Oh, it could be Harry. That thing I said about Harry. Maybe he's just like, oh, I really don't want to do it. Yeah, it's impossible. The actual translation is Harry doesn't want to do it.
Yeah, he doesn't want to be wrong. I already said there's nobody there. I don't want to check.
I got to go and take out the other scanner module and plug it in and swap over some of the plastic oblongs. I really don't want to do that.
And he's just like a baby about anything Seven says.
Returning again to the science lab, as Mulcahy enters, and the lighting has turned all green like a Borg ship.
And creepy, creepy music is playing.
And being completely insane, he doesn't immediately call Tuvok and start a security alert, but just steps inside and lets the door close.
Or even B'Elanna.
Yeah.
You know, he could have called her and said, you might want to come down here.
Seriously, Starfleet needs to have some kind of training in basic survival instincts.
Right.
The inside of a room is glowing like a Borg cube. What do you do? Step inside?
And it must have looked vaguely Borgy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just going to step in here. I would not have. I would have closed the door, sealed it off, called for help.
This is potentially a ship-wide emergency.
Yep.
In the lab, as Mulcahy starts scanning, 2 Borg assimilation tubes snake out and hit him right in the neck. And this is actually quite a good effect because you don't see where they come from.
Yeah. I like that. Yeah. You don't actually see anything he sees except for the green light. Yeah, it's kind of cool how they do it. And then boom, into his throat.
Now, when we rewatched this together, both of our reactions were, oh no, he got a name and lines. They're going to kill him already?
Yeah, we were both pretty sure he was dead.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure we see him alive again later, but...
He doesn't actually appear on Voyager again.
Oh no.
Yeah.
It's the curse of getting a name.
He doesn't die, but the character never appears. The actor, though, does appear in Enterprise, so he has that in the future.
Memory Alpha says we do hear his name again, but we don't see him.
On the bridge, Harry reports power is being rerouted to the science lab, and Chakotay hails Mulcahy, but there's no response. Things get worse as Harry detects a Borg force field in the lab, and Chakotay orders Tuvok with a security detail to the lab. Great use of visuals and music here, as Tuvok, with his security detail, are heading down the corridor, all carrying their big phaser rifles. And at one point, they're joined by Seven, where she walks in from the side. And they do it as this classic sort of Star Trek tracking shot, filmed from below, with the music, and it gives it a real sense of drama.
Yeah. I can't believe, though, that Janeway missed an opportunity to grab her big gun.
Yeah.
Right before Seven joins the security detail, she's in sickbay because Chakotay suggested maybe there's something wrong with her sensors because she was detecting a Borg signature, but they weren't. But when she's in there and she gets a call that there's something bad going on in the science lab, some kind of a Borg situation in the science lab, the doctor's like, oh, my emitter. Like, that's what he cares about. Come on.
Oh, that does kind of fit for the doctor.
Mm-hmm.
Arriving at the lab, it's still all lit in the Borg green, and we find a strange device wired into the middle of the room. Seven describes it as resembling a Borg maturation chamber.
Uh-oh.
And on the floor, they find Mulcahy, who's not dead, but has 2 puncture marks on his neck.
Vampires.
Space vampires.
Mm-hmm.
Seven determines a Borg extraction tubule took tissue samples and is surprised to find the residual nanoprobes match her encoding sequence, and she doesn't know why.
Yeah.
And after that, we never see Mulcahy again.
No.
Seven determines, because she is recognized as Borg, she can pass through the strange device's force field. And opening a panel, we see a fetal Borg drone. Seven is very surprised, saying, the Borg assimilate. They do not reproduce in this fashion. And we get a close-up of the baby drone in the device.
It's a baby Borg.
It's got an ocular implant, like various Borg bits stuck on it, and what looks like an umbilical cord. Totally solid visual effect and extremely creepy.
Oh, yeah. I wonder why baby Borg dolls never caught on. Like we had Cabbage Patch dolls in the 80s or 90s.
Yeah.
Can't remember. We should have had baby Borg dolls. Baby drones.
They would be shockingly creepy.
And they're all just numbered. And they have an eye thing.
Oh, I like it.
And they're all kind of gray.
Yeah, with the weird mottling.
Mm-hmm.
Back from the ad break, and Seven is briefing Janeway. It appears the transporter problem from earlier, where their patterns merged, caused some of Seven's nanoprobes to infect the Doctor's emitter. The nanoprobes then assimilated the emitter and transformed the diagnostic station into a maturation chamber, and then used Mulcahy's genetic code as a template to create a new life form. And this raises the question, why isn't this happening all the time with Seven's nanoprobes?
Yeah, because there's that episode where, it was that terrible one, Retrospect?
Yeah.
Where Janeway says just one nanoprobe could cause catastrophe, but she's shedding them all the time.
Right.
So what are we doing about it? There should be somebody just cleaning up behind her all the time.
Right, you made the suggestion there should be a cleaning crew following her.
Mm-hmm. I stand by it.
Plus, and let's not forget, there were 2 other people in the transport. What?
Yeah.
How, are you going to go and check Tom and B'Elanna out? Have they been infected by the nanoprobes?
See, that's the kind of thing you could do in modern Trek.
Yeah.
Like weeks or years later, when one of them gets injured, you could have that come out.
Right.
Yeah.
But even on this show, you could make it like an ongoing thing of every few episodes, somebody comes into the mess hall looking half Borg and saying, oh, well, Seven sneezed and partially assimilated 3 people.
Oh, my God. That's funny.
As they're scanning the baby Borg, it appears to grow, and Seven determines its maturation rate is 25 times that of a conventional Borg. Janeway orders a force field around the chamber and around-the-clock security. Tuvok is very surprised that she's going to let it mature.
I do like here that Tuvok is ready to jettison the baby drone.
Oh, yes. But Janeway doesn't want to pull the plug unless she has to. And it's just a little thing in this scene, but I like the way they're all bathed in the green Borg light.
Yeah. They do part of the scene like through the green screen or whatever.
Yes. Yeah. I gotta say, visually, there's a lot of great cues in this episode.
Mm-hmm.
Quick space shot of Voyager and the Nebula, and off to Astrometrics, where Seven and B'Elanna are scanning the drone. It's an hour later, and the mini Borg is now like a 6-year-old child. The Doctor reports the drone is mostly human, and the Borg implants comprise 27% of its body. They also determine the drone is using technology and material taken from the mobile emitter, and B'Elanna calls it a 29th century Borg.
How could it do that, though? I mean, that emitter's pretty small. How could it create more? Wouldn't it need some materials they don't have?
Yeah, that's a good point of where would it gain the additional mass unless it could tap into the replicators somehow?
Yeah, I was a little curious about that.
Unfortunately for the Doctor, his mobile emitter is embedded in the drone's cerebral cortex. It's part of his central nervous system and cannot be removed. A bit of a hand wave, but I'll accept it.
Oh, yeah.
Fortunately, Seven reports she's dampened the drone's proximity transceiver so it cannot contact the collective. And ominously, B'Elanna warns, for now. But what happens when it grows up?
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's a good question.
In Janeway's ready room, she's getting a briefing from Seven, who describes the drone as possessing superior technology and warning it will mature in 2 hours, but they still have time to terminate it. Janeway is pretty cool on the idea of terminating it, and has the idea of stopping the drone from interfacing with the collective, instead teaching it their values and showing it what it means to be an individual. Seven thinks this is a terrible idea, because if the drone is assimilated, the collective would become significantly more powerful.
Yeah. It's kind of naive to think, oh, well, we'll just create a new kind of drone. It'll be easy.
Yeah, but it fits with Janeway's...
Oh, yes.
her very sort of sympathetic nature of almost like everybody can be rescued.
Yeah. No, it makes sense that Janeway would think this.
Yeah.
I think it fits perfectly with her reckless nature.
Yeah.
I just think it's crazy.
I think Seven might be opposed to this because she's worried that the drone could become Janeway's next project, her next pet project, and then Seven would be out in the cold.
Oh, maybe. It's the older sibling scenario.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I'll also note here that Janeway describes their other option as murder, which I thought was kind of an odd thing to say as they've phasered Borg before.
Yeah, when they were attacking.
So you've got to wait for this future drone to start assimilating the crew and destroying the ship before you'll actually try and stop it.
Well, if we think about all the times that we're shouting, or at least I'm shouting fire at the screen, it does imply that they always wait till somebody else shoots first.
That's true. Yeah.
And I think the real risk here is not so much they've got this Borg drone that's not yet connected to the collective, but they've got this Borg drone that has used future technology that they don't know much about. That's the real risk to it.
Right.
And I'm sure, you know how she is, right? When she came up with the crazy idea to form an alliance with the collective, she's probably thinking the same thing, like, ooh, this guy could help us form another alliance or protect us from the Borg. My guess is she's thinking that way, about
that would be
the positives.
Extremely strategic.
Yeah.
That would be a really good way of looking at it.
Yeah.
And I think that's true. The potential benefits from that would be enormous. But the risks are you're all assimilated.
Yeah.
Continuing, Janeway tells Seven the drone is similar to what happened to her, which I don't think is strictly true. I mean, Seven was human originally, but this Borg is engineered from the ground up.
From a human, though.
But if they're creating this from raw genetics, from the ground up, how are they leaving bits out? Have they figured out how to modify a human brain to leave out things like empathy or even the concept of individuality? So this one literally is lacking any of the things that Seven has naturally. I
think she just at this point wants to know more. She wants to know what's possible.
I guess it's an interesting moral dilemma. Yeah. I mean, it is a cloned, manufactured thing with technology from 400 years in the future. You'd potentially be saving a whole galaxy from the Borg if you destroyed it.
Yeah.
I mean, Janeway didn't really seem to pause when it came to killing species 8472 with bioweapons.
Well, once she knew what kind of a threat they were.
Yeah.
And she heard their plans. Their plans were basically to kill everything. But would she have started there? No. And in fact, she didn't when they found that one individual alien, 8472 alien. That was not her first thought.
That's true. I guess at the end of the day, she does like to know what she's dealing with before she makes a decision.
Yeah, and remember, I can't remember what episode this is from, but we talked about how Star Trek likes to do that thing where they have one alien who somebody from Starfleet or somebody from, the main cast will connect to, and that's like our link to how we're going to change everything. So that's kind of normal, really.
Good point,
in Star Trek.
Janeway, now she has a plan, orders Seven to be the one to teach the drone, asking her to think of it like first contact, and she's the ambassador.
Yeah.
Cut to Seven announcing the maturation is complete, and it appears the Borg maturation chamber has also grown to fit a full-size adult Borg as well.
It adapted.
Oh, good one.
Mm-hmm.
The activated drone wants a designation, and Seven tells him he is not part of the collective and will receive instructions from her. This doesn't go well, as the drone doesn't seem to understand anything. Seven explains to Tuvok she needs to start a direct neural interface.
Yeah, terrible idea.
She's picking up some of that Janeway recklessness.
Yeah.
Seven uses her Borg assimilation tubelets straight into the drone's neck. And I guess the doctor wasn't able to remove those from Seven?
Yeah, I didn't know she still had those. I would think we would have wanted to remove them.
Yeah. The transfer starts off well, but the drone grabs her arm, and Seven says he's trying to assimilate all her knowledge. Tuvok tries using a phaser, but the Borg's personal shields are now online.
Usually you get one shot in.
Well, this is a 29th century Borg.
True.
Starfleet should really reverse engineer these things. Their personal shield is super useful.
Mm-hmm. Well, we figure it out eventually.
The drone continues to download Seven's brain, but when Seven tells it, "You are hurting me," it seems to understand and actually releases her. Seven looks very shocked by all of this, but the drone remains completely implacable.
Okay, I have a couple of notes in this scene, and the first thing I wrote down is, that's quite a codpiece. I also still noted here that Seven continues to say futile wrong. I mean, you can say futile, of course, but if you're a Borg, you need to say futile. That's just weird.
It's a subtle sign that Seven never fully embraced the Borg society. It's because Seven's a rebel Borg.
It's honestly something that makes me crazy. She should say it the way that the Queen says it. It doesn't make any sense that she would say it differently.
Yeah.
It really bugs me. I don't think they should let her do that. The other thing here is I had to look up the actor who's playing the drone because he seems so familiar, and it is none other than J. Paul Boehmer. Not sure I'm pronouncing that right. But this is the non-Hirogen SS officer in the Killing Game episodes. And once you know that, you can't unsee it.
And I get to say it for a change. He was on Young and the Restless.
Oh, I didn't see that. Well, it makes sense because we also had Ray Wise on a couple episodes ago. He was also on the Young and the Restless as a cult leader. don't remember which character this actor plays, but that's funny. Yeah, there were lots of crossovers between Star Trek and the soaps in the 90s. As a Borg, he plays this character very robotically, right? His movements are very herky-jerky. And if we think about Seven did that a bit when she started, but I think somehow she was really good at it, really smooth. I find it quite jolting the way this actor does it. He almost looks like he's going to fall over all the time. And I also think that his Borg outfit is much bulkier than what the Borg, or at least what Seven wore. And so it's probably kind of difficult even to try to do subtle movements in that outfit.
It could also be a choice if this is, if you're like a young, inexperienced Borg. It's still learning kind of thing.
Grew up fast.
Yeah.
Its limbs make no sense.
Right. Into a voiceover of Seven explaining the drone can now learn and is assimilating knowledge. In engineering, B'Elanna is helping Neelix with Borg data nodes and is a little salty, complaining, how many Borg hitchhikers are we going to pick up on this trip?
That made me laugh out loud.
And in possibly the line of the episode, she says, they don't assimilate anymore, they just turn up and look helpless. That was great.
Yes. Quite spicy from B'Elanna. Very appropriate, though, from her.
Yes. And then, when Neelix tells her, the drone will become what we help it to become, she really sarcastically says, how stealthy of you. Also excellent. This is the sarcastic, slightly belligerent, bolshy B'Elanna that we want.
Yeah, it's the perfect B'Elanna.
Not the Tom's doormat B'Elanna.
Correct. Remember when she called Tom a pig? I mean, what happened to that B'Elanna?
It's almost like they write two different characters.
And the way Tom talks to her is the sort of smile, more attitude. You know what I mean? It's just that misogynistic, it's horrible.
In the lab, the drone is starting to learn and seems to be getting a handle on things. Seven explains he is an individual and not in the Borg collective. He seems to accept this and asks to assimilate more information. And I have a note here about this style of Borg suit. It's very cool because in the gaps around its armor, it has glowing blue light.
Oh, yeah.
It looks really good. It would make a great cosplay, except for the fact it would be impossibly hot to wear.
Oh, yeah. He looks very hot.
Yeah. He's got to be like 2 inches away from heat stroke at every point.
They probably had to put like air conditioning tubes into his costume somewhere.
Oh, yeah. There's also a cute bit in this scene where the drone just wants to follow Seven around rather than go to the doctor.
Does not want to leave Mom.
While Neelix is taking the drone to the doctor, it notices one of the crew who appears to be frightened of him, and he asks about the Borg. Neelix, quite skillfully, distracts, basically saying he'll have plenty of time to learn about them. Good job, Neelix. Nice deflection.
We also see he's got like a weird hood in the scene over sort of the back of his head.
Oh, I did not notice that. What I noticed in this scene is the 2 security officers who are following them, how they both look very serious, and one of them just doesn't take his eyes off the drone. And I thought it made kind of a nice change, as usually security are like looking away, going for a quick smoke, being distracted before they're killed or whatever.
Maybe they finally figured out that all the security guys get killed. Like, pay attention.
Yep, right. Keep your eyes open. Don't turn your back on the Borg. In sickbay, the drone determines it is an advanced life form because of the mobile emitter, and is quite insistent the doctor tell the story of how he was created. And then, weirdly heartfelt for a drone, he asks, am I unwelcome here?
Well...
The doctor takes this seriously, replying that, although he was unexpected, he's sure in time he'll make a fine addition to the crew. I think this is one of the most interesting things here, because the drone was considering the feeling of others. So, in that, I ask the question, are the Borg, with future technology, heading towards rediscovering empathy?
Interesting. Or is it just something that's coming from Seven's nanoprobes?
Yeah.
You know, that these are part of the lessons she was learning. Or is it something he's observing around him? Or, you know, things that Seven has been saying?
Oh, the environment is making him.
Yeah, some of the things or the knowledge he's been assimilating, they're actually, because they haven't been teaching him about the Borg yet. So he's picking up other things.
Yeah. Oh, good take.
He does tell the doctor that he knows that he has his emitter, and the doctor should have been like, well, can you create me another one?
Can I have it back?
You made these shields. Can you just make me another one? What's the problem?
In engineering, Seven is introducing the Borg to B'Elanna, and she's pretty much as welcoming as you'd expect.
Very much her acerbic self.
Yeah. B'Elanna is trying to figure out the expansion rate of the nebula. The drone has an idea and demonstrates an algorithm to calculate it. And B'Elanna is actually impressed.
Yep, she goes from, get this guy away from me, to, oh, maybe you're my new partner.
Finally, somebody as smart as me.
Yeah.
Now in Janeway's briefing room, the drone is introducing itself to Janeway with its designation of 1, which Seven thought would be appropriate.
Yep.
Personally, I think Borg 2800 would have been way cooler, as it's a 29th century Borg.
What was the Terminator? I can't remember those numbers.
T-Model 1001 or the T-Model 101.
Could have been a T-Model something. I like here when he says he's assimilated 47 billion teraquads of information. Like, I don't even know what that means.
It's a lot.
It's a lot, yeah.
Janeway seems very happy with this progress, and the drone seems just really extremely keen, asking Janeway if he is sufficient. Total overachiever vibes here.
Yeah.
After one leaves, Janeway congratulates Seven on her work, describing one as fitting in with the crew and having a distinct personality. This is actually, the time scale in this episode is kind of odd.
Yeah.
Because it makes it appear as this is all one day.
I think they say like 2 days or something later.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty quick.
Seven is still quite concerned, as one is curious about the Borg, and she is worried he'll be drawn to the collective. She says, the lure of perfection is powerful. He may be tempted to seek out the Borg. I feel the lure of perfection is, I guess that's Borg propaganda programming. You know, the way the Queen says they bring people closer to perfection.
Well, it's one of those things they keep telling all the drones, so that just becomes their way of thinking.
Janeway agrees to the delay in telling him of the Borg, but cautions. He's becoming an individual. He has the right to know, and sooner or later, they'll have to answer his questions.
Yeah.
Your people are mass murdering psychopaths?
Yeah. I imagine Janeway's thinking, let's teach him our ways first, and then he can, he'll make a better decision about something that horrible. At the same time, I would say do it while you still have some hope of controlling him or, terminating him or something.
You're right. That is a very Federation of Starfleet evolved approach.
Yeah.
Of give this person the tools to evaluate what they're seeing.
Right.
And if they're presented with, we forcibly assimilate and destroy other races, if he has a solid moral foundation, then hopefully his reaction would be, you do the what?
Yeah. Well, I don't want to do that.
Yeah. In the cargo bay, 7 and 1 go to regenerate. He wants to learn all the data about the Borg, but 7 deflects, basically ordering him to regenerate. When regeneration starts, he tells 7, thank you, which is another thing that seems to totally surprise her. I think Jeri Ryan is really good at, basically non-verbal acting.
Yeah,
giving
she
these
is.
cues of what the character is feeling through facial expressions and just body movements. I think she managed to pull it off really well.
Yeah, I think she's quite good in this episode. And overall, yeah, you're right. That's one of the things we talk a lot about with Kate Mulgrew, too.
Yeah.
Is that the facial acting is also very good on top of all the other acting.
Yeah.
The thank you doesn't come out of the blue because one of the things I remember from this episode, and again, I don't remember anything. I don't know why this episode stuck with me.
Yeah.
But there's a scene where she tells him that he did a great job today or something. And she says, you have exceeded expectations. And he says, well, then expectations were insufficient. This is something that I've said at work many times. But anyway, because that for some reason that line just stuck with me. But then she tells him, you could just say thank you. And so then a few seconds later, he's like, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
As the regeneration starts, the camera zooms in on 2 flashing lights on one's neck.
Uh-oh.
We cut to a space shot of a Borg sphere. We go inside and hear a Borg voice saying, a proximity signal has been detected. Alter course to intercept.
Uh-oh. I don't think we've seen a Borg sphere on any of the shows, right? It was only in the movie.
I might be wrong on this, but I believe the movie was the first time we saw a sphere.
I think so.
Cut to 7 waking from regeneration to be confronted by Janeway and a heavily armed security detail.
It's never good to wake up like that.
Janeway informs her the drone transmitted a Borg proximity signal. 7 checks the transceiver on 1 and discovers there was a Borg failsafe device, a secondary transceiver. And why didn't anybody think of that? Or perhaps put some kind of comms dampening field around sickbay until they were sure the drone couldn't communicate?
Well, doesn't she say something like he adapted or...
Yes, created the second one.
She says that about the Borg and about herself and about everyone all the time, so why didn't we assume that that would happen?
Yeah, exactly. And some kind of suppressing field would give you a chance to fix it before a signal went out.
Mm-hmm.
Seems like bad planning.
As usual, not cautious enough.
Tuvok reports a transwarp conduit was detected and a ship is on an intercept course, arriving in 3 hours. Almost naively, the drone tells Seven, "I wish to meet them." Quietly to one side, Janeway tells Seven, "It's probably time to tell our drone what the Borg are all about." Into astrometrics and the big screen TV, which seems to be the new feature of season 5. I mean, how many times have we used it? We're only 2 episodes in.
Yep.
They're showing one footage of the Borg, probably playing back episodes of TNG on VHS.
And the movie.
Oh, well, I was thinking about the movie, but they're in the Alpha Quadrant, so they probably wouldn't have got that tape yet.
Their Blockbuster doesn't have that episode.
Unless Seven, who did seem to know about it, had the Borg cut of the movie.
Oh, that's true. She should have it. Mm-hmm.
And that would be the one where Starfleet are the bad guys.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's funny.
After learning of this, one tells Seven, "I wish to experience the hive mind." Is that ever an uh-oh? You know, maybe it's not too late to beam him out into space.
Yeah, that's what Tuvok wanted to do from the beginning. Probably still does. Probably has a constant lock on him.
Janeway warns one the Borg would destroy his individuality. There's some interesting discourse here, as Janeway calls the Borg destructive, and one points out that Seven is not. And Janeway counters, telling him that's because Seven regained her individuality. She continues to explain that with his technology, the Borg would become more destructive, and they have to stop that, but they need his help to resist them. One then asks Seven directly, "Do you wish to rejoin the collective?" Seven replies, "Voyager is my collective." It's great here how Seven, or Ryan, gives this really uncomfortable look, and the way she shifts before she answers, it's like, that's a very personal question.
And then the camera cuts to Janeway, and she sort of has no reaction, which is weird. She should have had a reaction. Like even a tiny little smile or something, but she was like, yeah.
One says, he will need time to assimilate this information. But too late. Chakotay calls. The Borg vessel is approaching. As Seven and One walk to the bridge, One explains his sensations of anxiety. He asks again, almost childlike, will Voyager be destroyed? Seven tells him, the Borg are powerful, but Janeway is a resourceful leader. She will resist.
That's the understatement of the century.
And One repeats the classic Borg line, resistance is futile. But he says it very quietly.
See, he says it right.
We cut to the briefest space shot of the Borg sphere closing in on Voyager. I guess it must have been a time concern because it was like 2 frames and boom, back to Voyager.
It was going fast.
More Borg sphere, please. On the bridge view screen, we see the Borg sphere, and One describes it as a tactical vessel. And because he's a Borg, gives like a whole rundown of all its capabilities.
Mm-hmm. But why would it have all that? Is that because Seven has it? Because all that data can't be in the nanoprobes.
Yeah, I assume because Seven has a lot of that data. So she was putting a lot of information into the Borg data nodes so he could learn it.
I guess it could have been in the data they just shared with him, too.
I wouldn't see it as unreasonable that Seven gave him a lot of underlying data.
Okay.
There's no reason you wouldn't give him Borg tactical information about just the mechanics of the Borg and their ships and the rest of it without actually teaching him about what the Borg philosophy was.
Mm-hmm.
The Borg hail with their usual message, and One says he can hear them in his mind.
Mm-hmm.
He continues telling Seven, the collective is calling to me, and Seven confirms, I hear it too. Billions of voices speaking at one. And it's great here as both Chakotay and Janeway have this, oh crap, look on their face.
Is that bad?
Yeah, exactly. It's like, I guess this is the point where you learn if both 7 and 1, when they say, they want to be individuals and they don't want to be part of the collective, this is where the rubber hits the road. The collective is actively calling to them.
And they still hear it later, too, like as far as Picard.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I do think Chakotay misses out on getting in a comment here of saying, do you still think this was a good idea, Captain?
Janeway never backs down.
7 tells 1 they must resist that voice, and he must help Voyager defend themselves. And 1 plugs himself into a console to help upgrade Voyager's systems. Tuvok reports the shields are remodulating, and Voyager is freed from a Borg tractor beam. We get a good effect shot here of Voyager in the tractor beam, and we see the sphere is like quite a fair bit bigger than Voyager. I guess compared to the Enterprise-E, the sphere is like pretty small.
Yeah, I always thought it was small.
But the size difference between it and Voyager kind of surprised me.
Yeah.
1 also enhanced Voyager's phasers, but the Borg bounces the beam back onto Voyager.
Whoops.
And the sphere continues firing, now taking out the warp drive. 1 reports he cannot enhance Voyager's defenses anymore and must interface with the collective, as he can disrupt their vessel from within. 7 warns they will assimilate you. And a defiant 1 announces, they will fail. Janeway orders Harry to lock a transport on 1, but he replies, that is not necessary.
Here it is!
And in something that's made Kim laugh for 28 years, 1 does this strange I Dream of Jeannie arms fold move, pressing a button on his arm, and beams over to the Borg ship. I can still remember how much you just died laughing watching
because that's what Jeannie would do. She would cross her arms, and then she would do a quick nod with her head. I'm telling you, that is exactly what he does, except he also presses a button on his arm. If you missed it, go back and watch it. I'm telling you, I Dream of Jeannie.
Yes, that is something that definitely impacted you.
Yep.
Inside the sphere, 1 tells the collective to stop the attack or he will destroy them. This is a pivotal moment for 1. It's showing he actually did embrace Federation morality. He's giving them an out.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was really fascinating.
Yep.
I also have to point out, you really see the blue lighting on 1's armor in this scene because it's quite dark, so it really sort of stands out. Voyager is taking a pounding from the Borg, shields down to 29%, and on the sphere, the drones attempt to attack 1, but they just bounce off his shields. He just belly rushes them. It's pretty funny.
Yeah.
They just bounce off. 1 plugs into a Borg alcove, and we see the sphere fly straight into the nebula as the collective try telling 1 to terminate his interface. But he's not listening or taking orders, and in the nebula, the Borg sphere starts to collapse and be crushed inwards. And finally, it explodes.
I liked how we used a nebula as a weapon. I thought that was really great. And the effects of where it starts to collapse on itself, that's pretty good.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Definitely. It's a good visual effect.
And it's funny, too, how this is just seconds, this whole thing, right?
Yep.
This is the turning point of the whole episode, but it's really just a few seconds, and it was pretty affecting.
Scanning the debris, Harry finds a life sign, as 1 put a force field around his body. Beaming him into sickbay, the doctor reports 1's organic components are severely damaged, including his cerebral cortex. He needs immediate surgery. 7 tells the injured 1 he was successful. He relates how when he linked to the collective, he could hear their thoughts, know their objectives, and now they are aware of his existence. They will pursue him. The doctor attempts to start the surgery, but 1 says, no, he was an accident. He was never meant to be. While he exists, all life on Voyager is in danger. As the doctor tries to use a hypospray, 1 engages his shields and blocks it.
Yeah.
7, her voice starting to break, pleads with him to comply. But stubbornly, 1 refuses. Finally, she says quietly, please, you are hurting me. 1 replies weakly, you will adapt. And the lights go out on his chest panel and eye implant. 1 is gone.
No. 7 is very sad.
A stunned 7 leaves sickbay, visibly upset. In her cargo bay, 7 shuts down 1's alcove and looks again into the mirror. But this time, she does not smile. The end.
No.
Yeah, that was a truly tragic ending.
Yeah. It's such an interesting episode, how that, from where it starts to where it ends.
Yes.
I mean, you have no idea that's what's coming.
Right.
But that was an interesting one. All right, let's go to overanalysis.
Okay. First thing, one must be significantly more powerful than the Borg of this time period. Even connecting to the collective, they have no control over him.
Yeah.
I guess, is this the force of will of his own personality or his technology? I don't think we get to find out.
Well, what if it's just a program? I think about Murderbot.
Yeah.
And if you haven't watched that show, he's a robot that is partially organic, partially cybernetic, a little bit like the Borg, honestly. But he's got a governance module or a control module, and he just manages to deprogram it. And so he can't be controlled externally. He can still act like he's being controlled, so he's not found out, but he turns it off. And that made me think here, what did something similar happen? Is the way that the Borg actually are controlled is through whatever gets installed, through technology. And either that didn't get installed because he wasn't actually connected to a collective in any way. So it was either not there, or he was advanced enough to not enable it or to decompile it like they do in Murderbot. So he's just gone, oh no, I'm an individual. And so you can't do that.
Interesting.
But he easily could have changed it and said, okay, sure, I'll be part of the collective. And he could have taken them over, but he didn't really have those aspirations.
It's funny you say that because that leads on to my next point.
Okay.
If he's this powerful, wouldn't he be more of a threat to the Borg than a benefit?
Well, they just don't know that yet.
I have connected to the collective and installed my own software with a sense of empathy and morality for the entire Borg.
Yeah. Oh,
and I've overthrown the monarchy idea of having a queen.
I think that's a little bit like what happens, right? In the final season in the second season of Picard.
It's funny you should say that because my next note here is this a precursor or a template to what happened with Girardi in Picard season 2?
It's I don't know. I say this too much, but I'm going to say it again, which is that there's so many complaints from the trolls in later Trek about how this would never have happened in Trek, but it did. All of the stuff that happens in the modern versions, it's coming from people who loved that Trek, right? Who watched it, grew up with it, and they're taking the stuff that they saw in it and putting it into the new Trek. So you're just kidding yourself if you think that there's no connection, because boom, we just found one.
I mean, that's effectively what Girardi did. Her sense of personality overrode the Queen.
I love Girardi. I was horrified when she got taken into the collective, but then it ended up being very different from what you thought would happen.
Well, yeah, exactly. Next point. At least the Doctor got his mobile emitter back.
Well, they don't say it or show it, but yes, I assume they got it back.
And this, I think, is why as well the mobile emitter is such wildly dangerous technology. It's almost irresponsible to basically let it out of a sealed box hidden somewhere.
Yeah, they shouldn't let him off the ship with it.
Right.
I think we've talked about that before.
Who knows what else somebody could do with it?
Mm-hmm.
Next thing, I'm wondering why the Borg wouldn't move towards a cloning approach, or why they're not at that point already. I assume they have the technology to enable it. Is it a cost and resources issue? Is it easier to just assimilate people? Cloning, it would be so easy to, we need another 1,000 drones. Okay, power up the vats.
But that's not what they're about.
Yeah.
They're not about reproducing what they already have. They're about assimilating for improvement.
Okay.
They're CI/CD. They're continuous improvement.
Okay, because they see the assimilation as a way to become more perfect.
Yeah.
Well, even then, in theory, one is a threat to the Borg.
Because of that.
Because the nanoprobes have figured out that that's inefficient and is moving to this cloning approach.
Yeah. And he was so much more advanced. So all they really need to be focusing on is technology. They don't need to necessarily keep getting more and more species. Yeah,
because this leads on to one's morality and the fact that they could instill this sense of individuality, this concern over the crew of Voyager and the people who are there. He can't have gotten to know all of them. He only has his information from 7, and he's still prepared to defend them and giving the Borg an out. Stop attacking, and you can go on your way. I think it really is an interesting point if you could make the argument here that a more advanced Borg would regain its morality.
It's a high-risk proposition.
Well, yes.
If they convinced him, hey, you could take over the Borg and change them, and then he got there and he was overwhelmed by them because of numbers or something. I don't know.
Oh, I like being king.
Yeah. All of a sudden he's like, I like peace, but peace my way.
Oh, Pax Borgarnia? The Borg peace? Butchering Latin.
Oh, okay.
The original phrase was Pax Romana, which was the Roman peace, i.e., if everybody lived under Roman rule, everything would be peaceful.
Everything would be great.
I'm going to lean towards the positive and say that he actually had developed a moral compass, or the future Borg had the ability to do that.
It would have probably made more sense if he developed that moral compass over a longer period of time, rather than like 2 days.
It would have been nice to have a 2-part episode.
Yeah, at least a 2-part episode, if not like half a season or a whole season or something.
It might be a bit too much of a mirror of 7 at this point, but I would have liked to have seen more.
If we think about it, like, all it took for him to establish a really strong center of morality was to learn about Starfleet and learn about the Federation. Yeah. Then that really upholds the principles of Star Trek and where it came from.
Yeah.
So you could argue this is the most Star Trek episode of all, at least in terms of, that original vision.
You take your most mortal enemy, not just of the Federation, of every other life form in the universe.
Yeah.
You give it a moral foundation without propaganda, and it chooses to remain a moral creature.
I think sometimes it's really easy to get stuck in the episode that we're looking at and the 46-minute story of this episode. But if you think about it, a little bit differently, then that could be what this is about.
Okay, I really like that take.
And I mean, and he had to die at the end.
Yes.
Yeah. We talk about that a lot. Some characters in a story just have to die.
Next point. Do all the Borg now know about the fact that Voyager has a 29th century technology transmitter? Or do they just know about one? Because if they can create a super Borg using technology from 400 years in Trek's future, wouldn't it become their number one priority to acquire this at all costs?
Well, I thought about that, and they didn't assimilate him.
Yeah.
So I don't know that they got everything from in his mind.
Yeah.
But they only knew about him because of the transponder thingy.
Yeah.
And then they met him, and he overpowered them and destroyed them. But did they learn anything about him? Did they actually learn his origin story? I don't think so, because they didn't get in his brain.
Yeah. But they don't know he's dead.
No, they don't know that. But they also can't track him anymore because he's gone.
That's true. Yeah. There's no ability for him to ever recontact them. Okay.
As far as they know, he died on that Borg ship.
Yeah.
If that was their last transmission.
Maybe a part of it is they have figured out, or the Queen looks at it and says, yeah, this guy's too dangerous. We are not going to go and try and follow this.
Yeah, she's like watching the episode going, oh, good riddance.
Okay, we forget about this. Nobody try and do this again. Did not work out well for us.
That's my hand wave story.
Next thing. When One was initially absorbing Seven's memory, how did he not find out the true nature of the Borg?
Because he stopped.
Oh.
Because she was trying to resist.
Yeah.
So my guess is when he hit that wall, whatever that mental wall was, and she said, you're hurting me, he stopped.
Yeah.
That's my guess.
He didn't get enough of memory. He just got something.
Yeah. He knew of their existence.
Okay, I'll accept that.
Again, if the episode's good, hand wave's easy.
Okay, into wild speculation time.
Okay.
Jurati, Picard Season 2.
Mm-hmm.
The end of the Borg. How it always ends for you. A lone Borg Slayer. Is One that lone Borg Slayer?
Oh, yeah.
Except in this version of the timeline, or parallel, he doesn't manage it. Because I think it would make sense. The ultimate Borg would be the collective's own downfall.
Yeah, they would assimilate themselves right out of existence.
Because, well, think of it. If this ultimate Borg is created, it actually has a conscience, empathy, a sense of morality. It might look at the rest of the Borg and think, oh, they gotta go. Yeah.
I guess I was thinking about it like Picard was the lone Borg Slayer, and then
Yeah.
it was Janeway. It could have been this guy. I mean, he killed off one sphere.
Yeah, and the collective couldn't touch him. Even when he linked with the collective, he was immune to them.
But was Girardi talking about a bigger history, and that somebody like that always appears and destroys them, and they end up having to start over?
Well, she was looking at the Borg across every parallel or timeline they could find, and it always ended the same. She said either a united federation or a lone Borg Slayer. Ultimately, they always lost.
Mm-hmm. That's interesting.
So my headcanon is 1 is the lone Borg Slayer.
Yeah, I think you're right.
And that wraps up my overanalysis. Over to you.
Oh, let's see. I'm thinking we may have talked about some of mine. My first note is, I guess we took the holoemitter out of his head, which we already talked about. Yeah. And we also talked about, should we consider how dangerous that emitter is? Because look what happened.
Yep, exactly.
And we also talked about this point, which is that, yes, 1 was dangerous, but really it was just the mobile emitter they needed, apparently, because he was able to create all of his technology, his shielding, his uniform, or it wasn't a uniform, his costume.
Yeah, the armor.
His suit, his armor was just by having that little thing. So if they knew that, then they'd be chasing that, but I don't think they know about that, so I think they kept that as a little secret.
Yeah.
And then I said Janeway's not being cautious enough.
Again?
He's so advanced. Surely she would see the risks, but I mean, we talked through all that too. So all of my points we've already talked about.
Oh.
And Janeway's leadership corner, I think it's important that we recognize that, she might not have been cautious enough, but she was really doing that thing of holding on to the Starfleet ideals.
Yeah.
Which is that if we just show somebody how to be empathetic and we show them the right thing to do and we give them the chance, they will choose the right thing.
Yeah.
That's a very Star Trek-y thing. So she was kind of doing that, I think, in this episode.
Yeah. And I guess at the end of the day, he was human with these enhancements.
He was, yeah.
And Janeway was demonstrating the evolved human side.
Yeah, so it's really that optimistic thing that we're always looking for here.
Oh, very much so.
You mentioned many times how nebulas are dangerous, and we were sort of implying it would have maybe helped the story if they had had him around longer, right? If there'd been a longer amount of time for him to learn. But really, they needed that nebula as the weapon to destroy the Borg at the end. So he had to stay there. So he couldn't stay there too long because Voyager needs to keep moving.
But at least they stayed a safe distance away.
This time they did. But they did a thing I've talked about before, which is they used the nebula as a story point.
Oh, yes.
And I appreciated that about this story.
Do you think we lost another shuttle?
Oh, 100%. Well, let's go to rating. Thumbs up, thumbs down, or neutral. What is your rating?
This is so 2 thumbs up. What an absolutely awesome episode. This is how you do an emotionally impactful episode of Star Trek. This may have been Jerry's best performance to date.
I didn't find this episode super emotional, but I get what you're saying.
One thing I really like about Jeri Ryan is the quiet subtlety she manages to put into this character. So much of her dialogue fits Seven being so direct and unsubtle. But in this one, we see her facial expressions, her nonverbal acting really make the character work.
Mm-hmm.
And this is why we need Star Trek Legacy, like tomorrow.
No, she's great. She's great in this episode. She's great in many episodes, but I do agree she's particularly good here. Yeah. And I think it was important for the character to have this discussion with Janeway where she's just like, no, this is crazy. If the Borg assimilate him, we're all done. And Janeway's like, that's not how we work. And she actually listened to Janeway, tried it, and she found it extremely rewarding. And Janeway was right, ultimately.
Yeah, she was.
Yeah, so I think that was important because they can't always just disagree and never come to any sort of conclusion about which was the right way to go, because that's just not fun for us to watch, for years.
Yeah, exactly.
So I did think that was an important step there. But, I mean, I remember when we heard that Seven was going to be on Picard and how, to me, that was almost like a turning point because I didn't want them to do Picard. I was like, no, TNG and the movies are perfect. It's done. You're going to mess it up.
Don't mess it up,
Don't mess it. And they kind of did, right? That was kind of messed up for a while. Fortunately, the last season, they came around, did fan services, which is what they should have done in the first place.
Yeah.
and kind of wrapped everything up, a little bit nicer. But when I saw she was going to be in it, I was really excited. And they used her really well. Even in the seasons that weren't that great, she was still really good.
There were elements of season 2 that were fantastic.
Yeah, and we absolutely would benefit from more of Seven. That's a character they could do a whole series about, and they could do it on the periphery of Starfleet. She doesn't have to, she doesn't have to follow all the Starfleet rules. It would be interesting, especially when you think about her introduction to Starfleet was Janeway, who was just crazy.
Yes, who was a throwback to Kirk.
Yeah.
Also, we've got to give a shout out to J. Paul Boehmer. He managed to give Juan some real nuance and make him a character that you kind of felt for at the end.
Yeah, he was good.
Yes.
I agree. Well, I haven't given my rating. Obviously, I give a thumbs up. This is a great episode. We had to talk about some hand waves. That's perfectly normal, but it was still really good. And yes, the wrap-up of it was emotional. I just love the way we started with here's a random nebula, and then we had a Borg encounter. I just think that was not how you thought it was going to go. And even when you saw the baby Borg, it was like, uh-oh, right? This is bad. And then we sort of created this quirky character who sacrificed himself to save the ship in the end. And I mean, we did that in 46 minutes. That's pretty amazing.
Oh, yeah. This is an absolute roller coaster of an episode.
Yeah.
And a great example of how you can make episodic TV work.
And we also saw B'Elanna.
Yeah.
She had a couple of great lines. So there was some humor in there as well. And it wasn't stupid humor.
It wasn't B'Elanna the girlfriend episode.
Yeah, it was good. Well, that wraps up Season 5, Episode 2. We are off to 2 bangers at the beginning of Season 5.
Oh, yeah.
Come back next week for Episode 3. In the meantime, if you'd like to send us your own overanalysis of this or any episode, or if you just want to say something nice, you can email us at ReBingeIT@gmail.com, or you can find us on Blue Sky, Threads, Instagram, and YouTube at ReBingeIt. And we're on the Facebook group, facebook.com/groups/Star Trek TTM podcasts.
Thanks for joining us on the ReBinge Star Trek Voyager podcast.
That's it for me.
And that's it from me.